So, Pascal Dunahoo has resigned, Minister for Finance, to take up a kind of a lead role in the World Bank, to say the least. Raised eyebrows, fathered head eyes popping out of my head, Dougal. Uh, but let's just park that for a second, all right? So what we'll probably see is Simon Harris step up into the role of Minister for Finance, which would be a very interesting job, Minister for Finance and Taoiseach. But I just want to highlight what he came out with yesterday by shouting and saying that it's dog whistling by the left to try and stop a conversation, a serious conversation, on immigration in the country. Immigration is a good thing, says Simon Harris, but so are rules that must be obeyed by. So I just want to bring Simon back, and if you're watching, Simon, hello. Might even see you in the doll tonight. Just want to highlight the fact for 5 years now, this government have shut down the likes of myself and other people who have been very vocal about immigration, seriously flawed policies throughout COVID, and the fact that the very backbone of the Irish economy, the self-employed, the small self-employed people that, literally hire thousands upon thousands, are at the point where it is utterly pointless to be self-employed, because there is literally nothing in it at the end of the day, with rules, regulation, red tape, cost of business going through the roof. And anytime we stood up and said something, well, you and your government pretty much just dog whistled at us to say, hey, shut up, do as you're told. So I find it incredibly hypocritical that a Taoiseach who will be trying to take over as Taoiseach in the revolving door of never-ending Taoiseach Taoiseach Fianna Fáil Fine Gael in about a year and a half or 2 years' time, now has the audacity to call out the left-aligned, or whatever way they're calling themselves, to say that they now are only dog whistling because he wants to have a genuine conversation on immigration. We said you can't just dump all these people in small towns and villages all around the country, and you told us to shut up. In fact, your previous leader, Leo Varadkar, has famously said nobody gets to veto who moves into their town and village, except for him and your government. And we have seen towns, villages, absolutely decimated, with tourism gone out the window, which has had such a knock-on effect and indirectly affected so many more different businesses. The very dynamics of these towns and villages have been altered and changed forever. And when we called out that, hey, can we at least have a debate about this? Can we at least talk about this? You basically told us all to piss right off, shut up, be the good boy, and do as you're told. So what's happened and what's caused this huge change and this huge swing in attitude and this huge swing in the government that are now saying we need to do something about immigration? Yes, we have a serious problem here, because for the last 2-3 years, you've been delighted to scream out climate change, Palestine, Gaza, Ukraine, or any other issue in any other country, just to distract us from the major issues that we have going on right now, i.e., COVID inquiry. How's that going, guys? Are we ever going to look back at that and say, listen, we got this wrong, we'll never do that again? No, it doesn't appear to be ever going to take place. So what has happened that you are now coming out and saying what you labeled us far right, fascist, racists, all kinds of names? Now you're saying the very same thing. And now you're trying to take on the left because it's the popular thing, is because of what everybody is saying in the country right now. What has happened? What has changed for you to come out for this? And it's very simple. It's the result of the spoil the vote, the presidential election. Don't think that we're complete gobshites. Some of us may be, but most of us aren't, where we know that that's the reason why you are now changing and coming out with this. You are saying what the people of Ireland have been saying for the last 4 or 5 years. And you realise you are struggling with votes. And it's not that you're losing votes to the left aligned, because, well, they've made a huge mistake by aligning way too soon, in my opinion, and watch them fall apart and distance themselves from each other over the next coming months and years as things go out and things happen, like a particular late interview, that now all of a sudden they're going, oh, Jesus, look, we don't want to be associated with somebody who comes out with utter nonsense. So you're not worried about losing your votes to them. Are you worried about losing your votes to a new political party if one was to be formed? Who knows? But what you are worried about is the 215,000 people who got up and deliberately went out to spoil their vote in the presidential election campaign, added by a certain percentage of Jim Gavin's votes, coupled with some of the votes that were given to Catherine Connolly as a direct spoil the vote because I'm not voting in the government person, plus the hundreds of thousands of people who have sat at home and went, bollocks, I wish I actually got up and went and spoiled my vote too. Feel as if I missed out. The amount of messages I got from people saying that are the exact same amount as the amount of messages I got from people who turn around and said, we're going spoiling our vote. There's 4 in my family, 6 in my family, 12 in my office. We're all spoiling our vote. And that's exactly what I'm seeing again with the same amount. And some people will turn around and go, oh, shut up, Twitter isn't the real world. You tried that shit with the referendum. You tried that shit with the spoil the vote. You're the ones who were wrong. So that kind of crap doesn't work and doesn't wash with us anymore because we know. We know. So when you say it's 215,000 people spoil their vote, the actual number of voting people that are up for grabs is probably 500,000. And that's why you've changed your tact, and that's why you're coming out saying what you're saying. There's no doubt Pascal leaving is going to be a huge thorn in the side for Fine Gael and the government, and why, you may add, because some people will say the worst Minister for Finance ever. I'm not so sure about that. I'll get shot for this, but I actually liked the guy. Wasn't perfect. Got quite a few things wrong too. But I thought he was a highly capable person, even though I'm turning around saying, well, being self-employed is utterly pointless right now at the moment. But you put the wrong person in charge of the finances of this country and we can kiss our ass goodbye. And who are we going to put in? More than likely Simon Harris. Is he the right man for the job? Well, if we go by past positions held by the current Taoiseach, well, I'll let you figure out the answer for that yourself. But here's the real problem for you, Fine Gael. The by-election. That's a big position held by Pascal for quite a number of years. And it's up for grabs now. And there's one man who, if he pushes it in the right direction, might just really upset the apple cart with this one here. And if you lose that position, Fine Gael, I don't need to tell you the trouble that you're going to be in. There's another by-election coming up in Galway for the President of Ireland, Catherine Connolly's seat. Could you imagine if somebody else outside the government circles was to win that? Yep, now you've got a bigger problem again. So why say what the people are thinking and what the people have been saying for 4 or 5 years? It's the same reason why they come around and kiss your ass and kiss your baby when they're looking for the vote at a general election. Do not be fooled. Do not think that they are now all of a sudden on our side, for they are not. They are on the side of their own, themselves, and their power. And they will say and do whatever it takes in order to maintain that power. And we will see Simon Harris take Minister for Finance, maybe Helen McAtee move across to Foreign Affairs, which mightn't be a bad thing because that'll get her out of education, and then maybe we can rip out those pages on respecting genders that don't scientifically or biologically exist. So, when you're sitting at home, I always tell you, zoom out, zoom way back. Don't think like me, just think. Why the sudden shift? Why the huge change in rhetoric that is coming out of the government? Because that's all it is right now at the moment. It's just words. Let them debate it with us, with a few others. I'll volunteer myself any day to sit on any panel to debate against any politician in government. Do that and we might start agreeing with you and believing you. But ask yourself that one simple question and give me your answers in the comments. Why would they turn around now and all of a sudden say exactly what we've been saying for the last 4 or 5 years to try and win us over? Because there's 500,000 votes up for grabs, and either they're going to get them or the left are going to get them, or maybe a new political party, or maybe somebody who'll have an organisation who'll turn around and try and influence where to send your vote. Think about it. The mad, crazy, batshit crazy country that we live in. Am I nuts or do I have a point? Think about what I'm saying. Why would they change all of a sudden and say what they're saying to agree and back up what you've been saying for the last 5 years when they were delighted to call you every other name under the sun up until then? Have a good day. Let me know in the comments. Love to read them.